Co aby se svátečně oblékla. Uděláme si takovou malou, hezkou hostinu. Vem si ty své černé sváteční šaty. Vždyť si je měla jen párkrát v životě. Pak se vykoupeme v naší krásné koupelně, jak se sluší o římských hodech.
The Cremator is a 1969 Czechoslovakia film that's written and directed by Juraj Herz. So The Cremator is actually a request from a $50 patron that goes by the Discord name Lazarus Go Maverick. And this guy has been wanting me to watch this film for a very long time. I put it on a poll one time a few months ago and it didn't get any enthusiasm at all. I think it only got like a few votes. And I guess he finally just said, screw it, I'm gonna fork up $50 so he can review it. And I'm so glad that he did. But first, I want to show off my Criterion copy of The Cremator. There it is right there. I got it on the half-off sale at Barnes & Noble's, and I specifically got it because he was already a $50 patron at the time who already requested this film, and I said, you know what? Let me go ahead and get this, and let me tell you something, guys. I am so happy that I bought this film, and I am so glad that he requested this film, because this is becoming one of my favorite movies of all time. So the question that's raised in the title of this video is The Cremator a hidden masterpiece? And I think at this point of the video, you guys can already guess that I think the answer is an obvious yes. Because, let me tell you something, guys. After this film was over, I really couldn't fathom and I could not believe that nobody really ever talks about this film, and the vast majority of film lovers don't even know what this film is, and they've just never heard of it. And that was just so surprising to me, because this has just like cult classic masterpiece written all over it. I'm sure that in Czechoslovakia, this film is huge. I don't doubt that. I would be absolutely surprised if it isn't. But the fact that this film didn't really reach out to a lot of film lovers is really staggering. And the reason why I keep saying I'm really shocked by that is the fact that, well, it's for a lot of reasons, but I guess I'll start with the fact that the way that this film is crafted, and the way that it's shot, and the way that it's edited, it seems like it would be something that is highly influential, but also like really modern and really contemporary. Like, I could see a film like this being released today, and it just has this timeless feel to it, to where nothing about it really seems dated, and anybody at any point in time will be able to watch this film and just be absolutely blown away by it. And a lot of that, again, is just how it's crafted, the way that camera work is utilized in this film. A lot of it is really inventive, and it's utilized incredibly well with certain POV shots, with certain wide shots. It's utilized and crafted in a way that you would be used to seeing like in a modern art house film. And the creative vision for this film was both really effective and really impressive. And it's really especially through the editing. The editing in this film from start to finish is just really creative in terms of how it wants to convey emotion, how it wants to convey themes, and also how it utilizes transitioning throughout this film, because the transitioning in this film was just really seamless, because a scene will transition so seamlessly through the editing and the way it's directed to where like your mind kind of has to take a second to register that, oh shit, like we're now on to a whole different scene. And just the way that he was able to use his vision, and just the way that this film is crafted is really admirable, because it's not only is it creative, but it's really effective. And this film just has this incredible dark and chilling aspect to it, because not only does a bit of it come off like surreal and dreamlike, but it just seems so somber and very gothic. Like I could see somebody watching this film and saying that this is a very like gothic style film, because there are some really chilling scenes in this film. There are a few scenes in this film that legitimately gave me goosebumps, not only because of the dark nature of it, but just how it went about presenting these scenes, is not only did it feel uncomfortable when I was watching it, but it was really effective in trying to express the overall themes and the overall atmosphere of what it's going for. And this film just utilizes a lot of creativity with the editing, with the camera work, even with the writing of these characters and the dialogue. A lot of the dialogue that comes out of the main character's mouth is like, a lot of it's really absurd. It's really dark. And the way that it's able to achieve this kind of dreamlike and darkly surreal atmosphere is something that's not easy to do. Like, some of this can come off cheesy and laughable. And for me, it really didn't. Like, it was really effective. And I will say that I think this is also slightly a dark comedy. Like, there are moments that are certainly funny, but in a more morbid kind of way. And but don't get hung up on the comedy part, because I think on IMDb this is labeled as a horror comedy. This is definitely more horror and drama than it is comedy, because it's a film that deals with a lot of uncomfortable concepts about humanity and life, especially with death, with narcissism, with social pressure, and even like in the afterlife, and just humanity's conception of the afterlife, and even humanity's conceptions of people in general and certain ethnicities. There's a lot to do in this film about the social pressures and the Nazi occupation in Czechoslovakia. And I think it just utilizes that concept in a way that it really explores these really dark, insightful, philosophical ideas about humanity, to where like it really questions whether or not like evil, and whether or not people can become murderers, whether or not that's something that's just inherent in a person, or that's something that has to be trained into a human being. And it's basically this whole like nature versus nurture thing that's going on in this film. And I think this film kind of blurs the line between the two, and it makes this kind of nuanced point that it can sometimes be a combination of both. And I love that the main character in this film is not your normal main character. And I could see some people kind of getting put off by the main character. I don't want to get too spoilery or anything, but he's a character that is questionable, to say the least. That's all I'll really say. But the way that the film utilizes his character to really express an overall theme about humanity and society, and really even about narcissism, and what, like, if a society opens its gates to certain things being accepted, what that can do to a person who is already kind of susceptible to these kinds of ideas. I love how the film was able to utilize them as a driver for those things. And I think this is also a film about manipulation and brainwash as well. And it just dives into these things in a really interesting, dark, and nuanced way that I really, really dug. And again, we are just talking about the themes of this film. It's really about the way that this film expresses its themes through its direction, through the camera work, especially through the editing. And it was all just, it's a really creative and interestingly crafted piece of filmmaking that just seems way ahead of its time. And again, has this really timeless feel to it that really baffles me beyond belief that nobody really talks about this film. A lot of people haven't heard of it. And it brings me nothing but joy to be able to make a video about this film and kind of shed light on it, because I truly think that this is a hidden masterpiece that I really want to expose more people to, because this is a film that I think is really underrated and deserves a lot more recognition. And I can't thank my $50 patron, Lazarus Go Maverick, enough for requesting this film, because, like I mentioned at the beginning, this is becoming one of my favorite films ever made. I don't know where I would place it, like on a top 15 list or anything like that, but I know it would, at this point, more than likely make the list somewhere. But yeah, so obviously, I absolutely love this film. I think every aspect of it really comes together and is really creative, especially for 1969. So I'm going to give The Cremator a 10 out of 10. This is the second 10 out of 10 that I've given in a row, and this is the third 10 out of 10 that I've given this month. I don't know. I guess I just been watching a lot of Kino lately. Like, it's just like
Kino overload.
But don't think I just give 10 out of 10s out just like hotcakes. Like, I don't. Like, this entire year, I have not given a single film a 10 out of 10. And for some reason, this month, I watched 3 films that I think are 10 out of 10. Tetsuo is a 10 out of 10 in its own horror, experimental, avant-garde approach. Brain Dead is a 10 out of 10 horror comedy with its really self-aware, just comedy gold gore approach. And The Cremator is just a 10 out of 10 in terms of how it's not only really artistically ambitious and bold, but there is just this really subtle, nuanced, and creative way about how it's crafted that really made me admire this film on a whole new level. So, yeah. So with that being said, I really hope you guys check this film out. I implore you to check it out. For those of you who have seen it, I would love to hear your take on this film in the comment section. I doubt there are many of my subs out there right now who have actually seen this film, but I highly, highly recommend it. This film, just for some reason, is not as well known, but it really should be because this film exceeds on all phases. But I hope you guys really enjoyed what I had to say about The Cremator. If you really enjoyed it, please give this video a thumbs up and share it amongst your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to be updated on more film-related content.